Hello everyone. This is take one, so hopefully it works out well. I'm just doing a little quick handy cam video here with my cell phone. I want to go over something I've wanted to try for a while, and I just kind of want to see kind of what the temperature of the water is with it. Going over the history of a rail line or of a passenger train that the Milwaukee Road had. I'll be doing it here at the Tri-County Model Railroad Club, located in Union Grove, Wisconsin. We had our last open house already for the year. As soon as we have the next dates open up, we'll have them on the web page and on our Facebook page. But back to what I'm working on here at the Milwaukee Road, going over specific trains, modeling of them, going through the eras of them and whatnot, the transitions, and then all of the changes in motive power and the consists of cars and whatnot, and the lines they ran. So I wanted to show you two trains in particular. Two trains in particular today that I have that are my favorites, and I've got some more modeling to do and some more cars that are going to hopefully come out before I get around to finishing them. But I want to talk about the Northwoods Hiawatha. So if we start with the newest one first that I have a rendition of, we'd be here at the RSC2 here. This is a Cato locomotive, all HO scale, and some Fox Valley cars. Now the cars aren't 100% correct. The cars that I'm modeling, or the train that I'm modeling in 1947 had ribbed cars, and it would be an RPO first. Now, due that it's kind of a shoddy black and white photo, it's a little difficult to depict actually, or to figure out exactly what paint scheme was used. It was more than likely gray roof cars. This is as close as I'm going to get. And in the picture, it was one long RPO, the 72-foot RPO, and 3 coaches that I could see in the picture. And then there was trees, and I couldn't see if there was a 4th or 5th car. But it was just coaches and an RPO. So this is going to be a stand-in set until I have the correct cars. Now, for those of you who know me, I'm more of a collector and an operator, or what some people like to call an armchair modeler. I kind of buy it, cut it out of the box, paste it on the layout, and I'm comfortable with that. I'm more into the history, I'm more into the design, the implementation, figuring out how it's going to work, why it's going to work, how the operation's going to go. I'm more into that than anything. I'm not into the scenery, I'm not into track laying. That's not my forte. So back to the Hiawathas. Fox Valley did a beautiful job with these passenger cars. They actually are accurate, and they do run very nicely. They roll very nicely. They're a little bit on the light side, but that's okay, because if you want to run 9 cars, which is prototypical on the original 1935 Hiawatha, you can do that. And if you want to run more cars, like on the Midwest Hiawatha, you could do that using the Fox Valley and or Walther's cars. As long as it's free rolling and it's nice and smooth, the Fox Valley Atlantic shouldn't have any trouble pulling it. I've had 30 cars behind this engine without too much trouble on a flat level surface. Mind you, those are all Fox Valley cars. They're all well maintained. They're not squeaky. They don't have a lot of drag to them. They're nice free rolling cars. That is important when modeling. You need to make sure that if you're going to be running this stuff, that your cars are tuned and in the correct condition. Now that's a whole other video, so I'll get back on topic, but that is important when you're modeling passenger trains, or any train for that matter, that all your equipment, if you're operating it, is in good operating order. So as we see down here, 1947 was the total dieselization of the Valley line. They were running RS2s on freight and RSC2s on passenger trains. Now there was other freight equipment used. Later on they got into RS3s, F units, and all kinds of stuff. But for what we need to know right now is just that they ran RSC2s. Now, Cato has an offering out right now in the market that's probably most likely going to be used for what you're looking for. You can find RSC2s. I wouldn't pay more than $75 for it, because odds are you'll have to put DCC in it. And new lights. This one actually needs to get new lights yet. The handrails were painted so that way it had the white stanchions on there. And then it had the F for the forward put on there. There we go, you can see a little bit better. But these are the correct road numbers for what was used. I've got 2 RC2s, my dad's got 2 or 3, and I'm hoping that someone else comes out and does a more accurate representation with the number boards and stuff on the corners and in the middle of the hood on the arch. So the Northwoods Hiawatha went through many different phases. One of the next phases I wanted to show you, actually one of the earlier phases I wanted to show you, was what this train has here. This train is modeled after what you might have seen in 1938 when there's a mass or a little boom on the Northwoods line. Instead of, let's see, I have it down here. In 1938, occasionally a section of the Hiawatha that went directly up the Northwoods line would operate to accommodate fishermen and vacationers. The Atlantic would be replaced by a 10-wheeler at New Lisbon. Now, this isn't stuff I'm just pulling out of the hat. I do read this stuff in books. I take pictures of it, and it's stuff I model and focus on, and spare a fair amount of time thinking, considering, and reading up on. I search it, Google it, whatever I can to find as much information as I can. And of course, if I do go further into this process with more trains, I'll definitely go into more information. But I want to let you guys know, every train I run, even if it's just for fun, is based on pictures I've seen. So that means it had to have happened, right? I mean, you hope. You hope there's not just some guy out there who's modifying pictures just for me to mess up my modeling. But anywho, the picture I have for this, you'll be able to find it on my own Facebook page. I'll share it with the original picture and description out of the book. I don't recall the book offhand, but it was, I think, in the Hiawatha story. The picture is actually number 1 with the herald before the maroon stripe, and it would have been brown roof cars, a brown roof cafe, 3 coaches, and of course the observation. But the observation in the picture was actually a gray roof observation. So that's all I'm really going to cover on the Northwoods. If you guys are interested in me doing more history on one train and modeling the renditions of it through the years, I'm more than happy to do that. I'll talk to you about the stand-in cars and what those are and what they represent, the changing of eras, dieselization, the use of steam equipment, the transition from trains between Chicago to Milwaukee, Milwaukee to Lisbon, north to Star Lake, and of course west to the Twin Cities, and of course the Chippewa and Copper Country Limited, which went from Chicago to Milwaukee, and then north up to Ontonagon and that area, in that neck of the woods. I want to show you a couple other trains I'm kind of proud of. So one of the trains, mind you, this is just a very small rendition of it, was the late Hiawatha. There's, mind you, this is a stand-in. In fact, the first 2 cars are stand-ins. The Walters car is actually much more accurate representation. What would have been 2 steel REA cars, just box cars, not necessarily reefers, and then they would have had 2 or 3 baggage cars. Like I said, the Walters is actually a better representation. And when I get around to getting down to Illinois to go buy some more of the cars, I'll be doing that. And they had up to 8 coaches before the dome. That's right, 8 coaches. So you would have had 1 or 2 of the express cars, and then you would have had 2 or up to 4, is what I've seen in pictures of the baggage cars. Up to 8 coaches before the dome. Now, since I don't have a yellow dome, I'm improvising with my second maroon and orange dome. And then you would have had the diner and the skytop, sorry. The tap lounge car would have been taken out, and that would have been serviced by the dome car. So that's that train right there. The next one I have for you is the Copper Country Limited, seen in the late 60s as it ran between Milwaukee and Green Bay. Now the FlexiVan is a stand-in car because it doesn't have the correct doors on the FlexiVan trailers. It would have actually had doors on the side here for easier access at the stop in Green Bay and in Milwaukee. Then you would have had 2 RPOs, and these are, I believe, semi-accurate. They're not fully detailed, and it's hard to judge by the picture, but I think these are accurate cars. They might be a bit short. And then you would have had a sleeper and then 3 coaches. Now this is just one rendition of a picture I've seen. So while the consist up to here is what I saw in the picture, I had a gentleman who with pictures proved that they did indeed, and confirmation through various other sources on Facebook, online, and whatnot, that they did run FlexiVans up to Green Bay and back. That there was a sleeper. Again, the picture I saw was heavyweight with the yellow and gray scheme. Well, and improvising with a Milwaukee Road painted 10-6 sleeper. I happen to have 4 of them. And then I've got a bunk coach. So you've got bunk accommodations for the crew who would be servicing the sleeper. And then 2 coaches. I just threw the bunk coach in there because I had it and and it was an excuse to use it. While all the coaches following the sleeper would have been streamlined and more closely related to the Walthers cars that they produced for the Twin Cities train. This is what I had. This is what I'm working with. Now, the train you see behind here would have been the Olympian Hiawatha. Again, this is just one of many renditions and consists of cars that were used. Please don't take anything I'm showing you as that's what it was, that's the only way it ran. By no means is that what's going on here. Milwaukee Road basically kind of ran what they had, used what was appropriate, and tried to keep the paint close. That's pretty much about it. The branch line trains saw the yellow cars last, and they really had the short end of the stick as far as equipment. They got what was around. The name trains the trains that had the Hiawatha still on the name is really what had priority for matching cars. So I've seen footage of videos, black and white obviously. I found it on YouTube. I saved the link. I don't have it accessible to put in this video. But it was a little Joe passing another train, and this is the train that the video was taken from, because the other train was going by too fast. I couldn't get an accurate description of cars. But this is the gist of what I saw. So it would have been a single little Joe, 2 express cars like the Walthers cars, the baggage cars. And I'm not exactly sure what the next car in the consist was, but it did have a similar paint scheme to this. This is a Rivarossi 44-seat coach, ACF. Now, while this wasn't exactly what was on the train, it's the paint scheme that I'm looking for, and it fits into what was running there. So it would have been 2 more coaches from what I had written down from the video. The dome, dining facilities, and then your skytop. Now, the skytop is the only car I have that's outfitted with people, and that's alright. I'll get to doing more of the train later on, and I might get to doing lighting. I don't know, probably not. It's just an expense that I'm really not looking forward to. And I'm using an MTH Little Joe, which is accurate for the Little Joes as they were delivered. They were later modified. If I'm correct, please correct me if I'm wrong on any of this stuff. By pouring concrete in the top portion of the locomotive and welding slab steel to the inside walls so that it had more tractive effort. And then, of course, Milwaukee Road had to bump up the voltage, I believe, to 3,000 volts, and that's when the Joes really did well. So if I'm wrong on anything, please correct me. It's been a long time since I've read the books on the Joes. I used to be on top of that stuff, and not so much anymore. I'm just kind of getting into loosely modeling some of these trains. So this is one set consist that I have, and that's just how I run it, is like this. There are different consists out there, obviously. You can run it any way you like. This is just one way that I'm doing it. So I've got an Olympian, I've got a Copper Country Limited, I've got a late Olympian, I've got a Northwoods section, and then I've got the Northwoods Hiawatha as it would have run for between New Lisbon and Star Lake. So I guess if I were to operate this in a layout, I'd have this section that's run by the Atlantic go between Chicago, Milwaukee, and New Lisbon, and then north of there, I'd have the RSC2 take over at the 3 coaches and go north. Although if I were to run it prototypically, I'd have a pair of RSC2s or a 10-wheeler if I had one take this 5-car consist north. So. But for the sake of keeping things simple, I like keeping consists set with the locomotive and cars, so I just run the train around back to Chicago and then do it over again. And likewise with the RSC2, run up to Star Lake, run around the train and pull it back down with the baggage at the end. Not that that was prototypical, but that's what I would do. So if you guys are interested in this video, or interested in future videos about modeling it, the different trains and the appropriate consists, I'd be happy to put a little more time and effort, maybe make a 20-minute episode that's very focused, much more detailed, includes pictures, links, descriptions, and etc. Please let me know. It's something I would really like to do, but I'm not going to do it just to have a bunch of videos up where I've got more videos than I do people watching them. So until next time, take care. Again, let me know what you think. And until next time, Merry Christmas.